Hey everyone, this is Mike from Real Life Counseling, and today we're going to continue our talk on how to increase your happiness and optimism by viewing things in the past in a more appropriate, optimistic, and happier way. We talked about how there's so many self-help books and so many videos, and they're all telling you the top five this, right? The top 5 ways to be happy, the top 10 ways to forgive, and if you add those things up week after week, there's hundreds of things that you have to do, and it's just impossible. Now, there may be some skills you need, right? If you want to do better on an interview, you may learn interview skills, right? If you want to be more assertive, assertiveness skills. You want to be successful in dating, maybe you need some flirting skills. But overall, it's your mindset. That's what needs to change, and that is transferable against all areas of life. So the cognitive behavioral piece, how you think and what you do impacts how you feel and your satisfaction in life. Dr. Seligman wrote a book called Authentic Happiness, and this is a number of years old now. I think it's 15 or 20 years old, and he's had new books that kind of added some updates or solidified a few things, new research findings. But we're going to talk about how to have a mindset that increases your optimism and happiness by starting about how you view things in the past. Now, we're going to have other videos about how to do that in the present and for the future, but we want to focus on three things: the past, present, and future, and how we view them to increase our happiness and optimism. So going with the past, he says that the first thing is that the life events in the past do not significantly impact who we are today as much as we think. Studies have been done that show people that have been victims of abuse, absentee parents, abusive parents, alcohol, drug use, parents that were in prison, kids that were in foster care, that we tend to think that can destroy a person's life. The facts show that the overwhelming majority of people who have had terrible things happen in their life, it does not significantly impact them today as much as we think they do. Now, of course, there are some exceptions, right? But overall, our past does not determine our future. We are very resilient, especially as kids. Now, I know there's a lot of people that don't like that, especially if you're one of the ones that you really carry that with you, the things from the past, and it's almost traumatic, right? You have PTSD. But studies have shown that the overall majority of people, even those that have a terrible, terrible childhood, grow up to be perfectly functioning people that don't have anxiety or stress. They don't have broken relationships. They're perfectly able to deal with society, and they're flexible. And so that alone is the first thing. When you're looking at the past, realize that whatever happened to you in your past does not automatically mean that you're damaged in the present or for the future. So that knowledge alone should be very comforting. Again, there are exceptions, and I know people don't want to hear this. Nope, my past absolutely determines. The research just doesn't show that overall. So that's number one. Number two, we tend to ruminate about the things that happened in the past. One of the things about therapy is you talk about endlessly all the wrongs that were done to you. That actually reinforces negativity and pessimism. You're reliving the negative events again and again and again. So ruminating about negative events is not very helpful. And in fact, it's interesting that we don't ruminate about good events, right? We're very selective about what we ruminate on. So the second thing is that stop ruminating about negative events, and if you can, ruminate about good events, right? So the past doesn't determine the future as much as we think, and stop ruminating about the negative and start ruminating about the positive. The third thing is having a sense of gratitude for whatever you have. Your health, your well-being, you have friends or family, whatever you have, however small or large, however few or many, just have a sense of gratitude for whatever that is. Whatever good things are going your way, feel good about it. Be grateful. I thank my friends for being there. I thank my parents for passing on good genes. If it's not good, don't have a sense of gratitude. Don't focus on that. But for the things that are good in your life, you have your health, right? You can eat. You have a roof over your head. For whatever it is, even if it seems small, have a sense of gratitude. Appreciate it. Appreciate the good things that you do have, whatever they are. So that's the third thing, right? The fourth thing is forgiving and forgetting. Now, research shows that we can't forget. It's very difficult for us to forget, unless you have electric shock therapy and it damages the memory parts of your brain. we can't forget, but we can forgive, and we can also change what happened. We can't forget it, but maybe we can have a different spin on it, a different perspective. And Dr. Seligman recommends a technique that was developed by another therapist, psychologist, and it's called the REACH method, R-E-A-C-H. And this may be very difficult for people to do. So we can't forget, but we can forgive. And here's how we do it. The R stands for recall, recalling the event, the negative, hurtful, painful event, but doing it objectively. Try not to have your emotions involved if possible. Just try it like you're watching it on a film or if it was somebody else. Just recall the event. The second thing is the E is empathize with the person who harmed you. Now that's very difficult for people to do. But people normally don't hurt people unless they themselves have been hurt. And that doesn't make it okay, by any means. But they may have been damaged. Maybe they were acting out of fear. It doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean you agree with it, doesn't mean you approve of it. But you try to empathize. You empathize from where they were coming from, what in their life led them to be so cruel and mean and hurtful. The second part is, A, is the altruistic gift of forgiveness. And that's really what it is. You're not doing it to get something. You don't even care if they respond. You're not doing it because you want the person to be nice now and maybe they'll treat you better. There's no underlying agenda. You truly give the gift of forgiveness for what they did, and it's really more for you, not for the other person. It's really a gift to you of just forgiving the person for whatever harm they did, for whatever reasons they did. The C is you communicate that gift. You commit to it publicly. You just let people know that I'm not, you can either email the person if you can find them, or just say, to people that I'm just forgiving this person. It doesn't have to be like on Facebook, I mean, it could be, but it doesn't have. But you let people know I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to let it destroy my life. I'm not going to ruminate on it. I forgive this person for whatever reason they did it, and that's it. And you kind of make it more of a public commitment to it. And then the H is just holding on to that forgiveness, because you're going to want to let it go, especially when you're upset and angry and vulnerable. So holding on to that sense that I'm going to just forgive a person for what they did because it's not good for me, and I just don't want to be that kind of person. Very hard to do. This forgiveness, this REACH technique, very hard to do. But if you can forgive past events, if you can stop ruminating, if you can have a sense of gratitude for what you have, and you can realize that the past doesn't lead to the future, or the present, that in of itself can be very helpful. So if you want to increase your happiness, you want to increase your optimism, start with the past. These are ways that you can look at the past and take the sting out, take the pain out, and have much better feelings about what happened in the past. And so we're going to talk about the future and the present in the next two videos, but cultivating this sense of gratitude and forgiveness about past events is one step to developing happiness and optimism. We'll talk about what you do in the present and what you can do thinking about the future. If you like this video, please hit like. If you'd like to join, please hit the subscription button. Any comments, please comment. And if you want to let know when new videos come out, hit the bell. And I'll see you next time. Thanks.